Which punishment sounds light or easy at first, but is actually horrific to receive? In high school, two of my friends were messing around at tennis practice and the coach made everyone else run extra laps. On face value, it seems like the messing around people got off easy, but having the rest of the team mad at you is a really effective punishment. This happened to me once. Our high school had a lot of corporal punishment/military-style rules, so it felt totally normal to have our lunchtime taken away because the prefects, senior leaders, were making us do push-ups or just stand in silence in full uniform in the sun. So one day I started butting heads with one of these seniors. They liked to throw out punishments seemingly at random, and I once stood up to him. Our school had an official code of conduct that outlined different violations of behavior and the level of punishment they would ensue. So I once got in trouble and told this guy, "Hey, the punishment you're doling out isn't relative to the code of conduct, you have to give me X punishment and no more." Obviously this didn't sit right with him, and so it got worse and worse over time. The prefects would look for any reason to give me hell. So the one day, they wanted to speak to our grade about disrespect to seniors, so they took away our break time to make us all do push-ups. Naturally, I knew this was about me, so I just straight up didn't go. So now we have the whole grade getting yelled at by the senior prefects, and I'm just sitting eating my lunch, thinking I should have just done this ages ago. Feeling like some kinda rebel revolutionary, until I could hear the faint echo of 100 teenagers far off in the distance, shouting, 1 for T-taps, 2 for T-taps, 3 for T-taps, 4. They were made to do push-ups all break time, shouting my name because they knew I was protesting. It was the worst week of my life. Yeah, stuff like protests only work when either you have a group backing you or you are willing to bear the social stigma. I tried to organize a walkout in HS over some BS school policies. I tried my hardest to explain that they can't expel 100 students, or send us all to ISS. They can't really do anything on their end. Nobody understood at all. Organizing is difficult, especially as a kid who doesn't understand relationships all that well. Something is only illegal if not enough people do it, or if the government isn't profiting off it. This is what I was thinking. Why didn't they all stay and eat with him? And if the provosts lose control of an entire grade like that? Well, I was part of a school sit-in protest. We had about 50 to 100 kids sitting in the hallways. We all thought they can't suspend everybody, and then they said we absolutely will suspend everybody, and other threats of kicking certain people out of their extracurriculars, no sports or going to games, detention/extra assignments, and everybody but 10 folded. When the numbers dwindled, I jumped ship too because I thought they were bluffing when it was 100, but 10 to 20 the threats seemed possible. Kneeling on rice as a kid left my husband with permanent scars and knee damage. Kneeling on corn was a common punishment in schools in South America. It was terrible. My father would threaten us with kneeling on corn kernels, but I think he was afraid my mom would freak out, so it was just screaming, making us kneel, and letting us know how much worse it could be. He was Hungarian and undoubtedly had PTSD from the war when he was a kid. Coming to that realization has helped me come to terms with it. I don't even remember what we did. We were good kids. And frozen peas/corn. It adds extra pain with the cold over time. How goddamn sick do you have to be to decide you'd better add that little bit because the torture that you're handing out to children, it seems to be reserved for kids, is not cruel enough? Apparently, in the eyes of some people, not sick at all. It, hopefully, used to be relatively common and horrible punishment. My dad made me do this from like 4 to 14-year-old, definitely have knee damage affecting me now at 26 when I do squats and go for long walks. The worst one I remember was making me hold up a swiveling office chair with both arms straight up overnight on carpet. If he came out to check on me and I was sitting down or not holding the chair up straight, he'd just start berating me, which was kind of worse. Sleep deprivation, really aggressive poking, and just really nasty verbal abuse was also super common. I've received a few punches here and there. I also wasn't allowed to cry. I thought it was just an Asian thing though. Interesting to see so many white Catholic people experiencing the same thing. People think an insanity plea would be a nice cushy life sentence, but those hospitals for the criminally mentally ill are just as bad as a regular penitentiary. Also, they can hold you basically forever if the doctors agree you're still a threat to yourself or others. They can use chemical restraint, aka drugging you up to be calm. As a fun added fuck you, in my state if, when they finally do let you out, they give you a bill for the treatment. Can you just file for bankruptcy at that point? If you're in the insane asylum, you're probably not loaded with cash anyways. And if you don't pay, what do? Put you back in? Usually the debt is tied to the restoration of certain rights. Gun ownership, voting, access to public services or social benefits are the big ones you might not get back if you have debt left over from incarceration. They may also garnish your income or liquidate things you owned before you got in, although this last one is rare. My dad got sued by our landlord when I was a kid for damages the fire department caused because the landlord was putting pennies in the fuse box to save money. The walls were insulated with newspapers from the 1920s, which caught fire because of short that the fuse box couldn't stop. We called the fire department. They came and used a fire axe to chop a huge hole in the wall and put the fire out. Landlord sued us for the damages and won, somehow. We were dirt poor, so we couldn't pay, so the court garnished my father's pay for like a decade to pay it back. It was really fucked up. Basically, the landlord was a well-known and powerful person in the tri-state area, and was personally friends with all the fucking lawyers, so no one could take our case because it was a conflict of interest. The Incans had a punishment for smaller offenses that seems lesser known. The criminal would be bound to a post and spat upon by llamas. Not just a few, either. Like, 50 llamas. I thought that sounded pretty silly and harmless at first when I heard of it, but apparently the threat was taken pretty seriously. It helps to know that llama spit is horrendous. It's less saliva and more partially digested food. It's essentially high-velocity vomit. I went to a petting zoo and got spat on by 2 separate llamas. Never doing that again, it was vile. Edit, anybody else want to make the bile/vile pun? Just 48 to go. Please like and subscribe for more daily content. I publish new videos daily, otherwise please feel free to check out another video. Thanks for watching.